Hello and welcome back. Now today we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a tenon on the end of a square bar, a 1-inch square bar. We're going to make it a tenon, so in order to be able to pass that through this piece that is the legs that we did on the last couple videos. Now here's the 1-inch bar that I'm going to use, and we're just going to put a tenon on the end. Now in my shop we have a couple of choices on how we're going to do that. The first choice is, of course, the power hammer. And then the second choice would be the hydraulic press. Either of these are excellent choices for the job and they'll do the job just fine. But in both cases, you're going to have to make sure your machine is set up properly. You're going to want to make sure that your dies are in line right here. And same with the hydraulic press, the dies that you're using to press down on this piece, that they are absolutely in line, allowing you to push down on your piece of metal from both sides at the exact same spot and creating that shoulder that you want. You want to pinch it just right, create that shoulder. Okay, let's take a look at that. Now that's not bad. Now I have this tool made. You've maybe seen it in other videos. It's my assistant for doing punch work and chisel work. But on the side here, I've put in 3 different square hardy hole sizes to help me in various ways, punching square holes, or in this case, bucking up the shoulder of that tenon. So we're going to see me use it right here for that. So I can sit that 3/4 inch tenon right down in that 3/4 inch hole there. It's not too bad, but this will trim it right up and give us a nice good shoulder. Everything true and straight. Alright? And I go around like this just because it cancels out any imperfections. Let's see, how do we do? It's not so bad. That's a nice shoulder. Let's brush it. Very good. Now I've gotten that down to 3/4 inch here, and I just eyeball that. But I've done enough that I feel comfortable with it, and it fits the piece just fine. But you could put a kiss block in there, and let me show you, and then you could set it so that you're going to hammer down, or in the hydraulic press, hammer down just to the 3/4 that you want. I'll show you. This is what a kiss block would look like, okay? I have a 3/4 inch bar welded to a long handle so I can hold it in here, and I can put it between the dies right here while I'm operating, and the hammer can only come down as far as that kiss plate, like this. Yeah, I'm moving it in the front so you can't see, okay? So the hammer could only come down to the kiss plate. There. And you can make these any size you want, of course, for the project at hand. And it'll stop right there. And these can also be used as well on the hydraulic press. Now, back when you bent this piece here, you'd already punched the hole in it. We had a square hole in there, and we bent it over. That hole's going to deform a little bit. And so you have a couple options. One is to take and file the hole out larger. That's fine. The other is to forge your tenon just a little bit smaller. Now, you'll find probably you'll end up doing a little bit of both, because one thing you're gonna want to file in here simply because these corners get boogered up, right? And they start to be a problem point for you, for your tenon to hang up on. So you just clean them up with a file. And then the same is true here with the tenon. In my case, I take and I hammer the edge off, okay? Give it an ever so slight taper too, so that it will drop easily right into the hole of that, okay? See how that fits in there so nicely? So I don't have any troubles. It doesn't hang up halfway down or give me a hard time. Just ever so slight taper, and then also the corners. I knock those corners off because they'll hang up in those corners, and more than likely you're going to need to go in there with a little bit of a file too and dress up just right at the bottom of those, because it's hard to get there with the hammer, right? So you're going to do a little bit of both. It's easier to reduce the tenon while you're making it than it is to open up that hole because it's already bent and curved. But there's going to be a little bit of that either side, whatever you do, file work. Now, another way I want to show you. Now the sheet fits pretty good, real nice there, real nice, okay? But if you really want your tenons, this is a large one and you're not going to see much, but anytime you're doing a tenon, maybe on a lamp or something like that, and you want that tenon super tight, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cup. You're going to want to cup this area right here at the shoulder. So it's a little bit dished in, all right? So this outside edge is the highest. It's going to touch the metal around here, and the inside won't. Now, on round things, you can just take your monkey tool and just dome it, and then when you do that, it automatically happens. When you're doing something square like this and larger things, you may have to come in with a chisel like this. That's more like a butcher or a side cut, and come in and chisel it down just a little bit right there, right on around. Let's take a look at that. Let's do that. So let's bring it over here to the vise. We're going to lock that up in there real good. Now we're taking a small hammer, not a big hammer, and our chisel that is like a butcher tool. And just like as if we were upsetting a piece of metal, we're going to use short, quick blows. Not great big forging blows. Short, quick blows. And I'm just coming around here, and you see what I'm doing is I'm pushing that shoulder down. I'm making it a crisp shoulder in there. And so what it's going to do then is when this gets down onto the piece, it's going to rest out here on the edge of these shoulders, not here at the center of the shank. It's going to rest out here, face this edge on the face of the piece, and you'll have a really tight fit. Nice surface to surface fit. Very nice. Now, as if that wasn't enough, nice as it is, I'm not satisfied with that. I would like this to be even bigger at the bottom, a boss, a bolster, if you will, around this, bigger than the shaft, right at the shoulder. Now, a lot of people would take, and perhaps they would start with some 1.5 inch material and then fuller it down right here, creating that boss. They could even upset it a bit. I'm not very good at that. I could fuller it, that'd be okay. But I don't like that effect. I really like it when I weld on some metal, add metal to it, and bring it around. Many of the old pieces that I've worked on, important historic pieces, were done just that way. They wrapped the piece on it, forge welded it, and then created this bolster. So I've got a piece of 5/16 by 1, and I'm going to carefully wrap it around here, all the way around till it comes off. Then we'll cut off the excess. We'll forge weld that in place, and that will create this bump up boss or bolster at the bottom, okay? And then we'll even go ahead with a chisel and we'll add some decoration to it. What do you think? The first step is going to be getting the first 90 in there. I can do that simply in the vise by judging where it should be and of course bending it over. Now many of you will notice I don't have a blacksmith leg vise here in the shop. It's not that I don't have one, I have them all right. But I was fortunate enough to get this huge, almost new Wilton leg vise, or Wilton vise, and it's a tank. It does everything. So I got a nice 90 there. And I've changed the jaws out of it. I took the hard jaws out, and I put 2 big blocks of 1.25 inch steel in there. And I've drilled some holes and tapped it and put different various things. You can see I've ground it to fit my needs. And if that doesn't work, I can just change those out easy enough. But I don't need hard facing with teeth jaws in a vise. I need nice smooth ones so I can hammer ironwork and not leave any marks. But that left a nice 90. So we're going to continue that around using our bar as a guide. So as it turns out, this is not something I could do with just 2 hands that I had. I need a 3rd hand in order to hold this and get it in the vise. So we're not going to do this using just the forge. We're going to go ahead and use the torch to assist me in heating this piece up. Now once I get this bend in, I'll probably be able to do them all on the anvil around the bar. And I won't need the assistance of the torch. Due to the nature of this piece, I need to work quickly, huh? All right. Hopefully, the rest of them will go without the assistance of the torch on the anvil. Actually, that went so well and easy for me this way, I'm just going to go ahead and finish it up with the torch. brought that right around. All right, you saw me bring that thing around, this piece in the vise, using the torch. Then I went ahead and cut off, there was that tail sticking off there, the excess. I cut that off, and you see I kind of cut it off at an angle. I left this tiny little gap in here. That gap is going to close up because there's a little bit of gap around all these spots here. And when that does, I want that to be able to close up. I want this to fit tight onto this piece. I don't want it to turn into a collar that just slides. So I want it to actually weld onto the bar. So I need to give it a little bit of the gaps because that metal is going to push in that direction. Okay? And then it can grip. I'm going to have this, you see, it can slide anywhere on the bar. I'm going to have this a little bit proud of the shoulder. Remember, I had made such a point of getting a good crisp shoulder down onto the piece of metal of the arch. So I'm going to make this a little bit, it's going to sit down just a little bit lower than the shoulder. This way. A little bit proud of the shoulder. Because once I get it welded on there, then I can go back over to the monkey tool, the header tool I have over there, and just set it all down there, and everything will be trued up really nice. If I left it back a little bit, there's a good chance I'd end up with a gap, and then I'd have a lot of work to do. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to heat that up and squeeze this tight, then flux it, get it white hot, and weld it together. Now I'm going to use the smallest hammer on my rack here for this weld. I don't need a bunch of pressure. It's about temperature. It's not about pounding it together. It's about the temperature of the metal and the conditions to be right for it to stick. So, and I don't want to distort the piece. I want that nice shoulder crisp. So all I have to do is the smallest hammer I have and just weld that together nicely without moving metal. And this first weld, we're just touching it together. That's where I want it. There we go. That's all it took to put it together. Now I'm gonna, if you know me, I need a new brush. There's that wet brush going onto it, just to really clean it up nicely. The fire has gotten dirty, so there's a lot of impurities in there. But we got it okay. I'm cleaning it up nicely. Okay, let's see what we can do with it. Let's go ahead and true up that shoulder a little bit now. Right now out here, just to make sure. See how it looks. Looking good. Oh, it looks real nice. I like it. Yep, yep, yep. Brush, brush, brush. Now the tenon has deteriorated a little bit with all that welding, but it's okay. You got to be careful of that though. It would be easy to burn that guy off if you're not watching what you're doing or mindful of that kind of thing. There we are. You can see that end of it nicely. You can see what's happened there. Looking good. But the important thing is, how does this end look? Let's see how that's nice. Let's find our leg here and try it. Look at that. Nice. Perfect fit. Looks really good. Now my intention was to do some chisel work on here, but it is so clean. Look at this. It is so clean and nice. I hesitate to do that now, but we're going to have to do something. This is a Gothic piece anyhow, right? No time to be modest about this. But all simplicity aside, it fits nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, I was going to go right into the chisel work, but now I need to think about this. I'm going to let this cool. Right now in the black heat is the time to give it that quench, to get rid of the flux, right? So I'm going to let that cool, and I'll probably sit here with a silver pencil and draw out some ideas before I actually go cutting into it. So let's make that our next video, doing the chisel work on that and then taking it up from there. What are some of the other things we want to do at this point? I think we're going to put in a piece that's coming out here, and it goes up like this to hold a skewer bar, right? It's going to come up, go up, and maybe end with a little dragon head. We could do that. And then up here a little bit further, I think we're going to fuller it down and taper it, possibly give it a rope twist, and then forge a ball on the end of it. So that's where we're going with it. And I'll catch you next time once I figure out what to do about that chisel work.